I love trips to Vegas. The underdog became the underrated. In my city, I'm paraded. Confetti dropping when I'm home. I'm floating down Tudor, floating on strong. Had so many rights they couldn't tell us we was wrong. Lamar Middle School, we was on. I got this lion heart in my chest. I'm one of the best. They ask about him, they gon' bring up success. See, I've been fighting this stress. You ain't right, you get left. I'm good with my left, so I don't argue with refs. Cause just like EA, I'm in the game.
Oh, it's Misa. I had to play your trick on you. I'm just loving those Instagram lives so much. I had to do my own little thing there. But no, we appreciate you guys joining us today. This is K Rich and Misa and Rob, and we're here for another episode of the We Give 110 special, an expert special with Misa and Perfectly Kept Books. She's going to uncover the secrets for the look, learn, and ask method. And we're going to learn a lot, so make sure you have that pen and pad ready. And Misa, go ahead and take it away.
Yes. So money and finances. It's like one of the biggest stressors that many people have, and a lot of people have a lot of shame around it because there's so many reasons why. But the first thing that I see that most people don't even do is look, which is looking at their finances. Like, open your bank account, look at it, like regardless of what the amount is or what's going on, you want to actually look at your finances because you can't actually do anything until you know what you're working with. So if you look at it and you see, okay, I'm not making enough money, or I don't have any money, or I'm spending a lot of money on food or a lot of money on courses, or, you can actually at least see what you're doing. So that at least from there, you have a starting point. So it's not just, you just letting your finances do whatever. You're actually looking at them and saying, okay, I know what's going on. I can see the areas that I probably need to work on. And it's scary to look at, but the only way to move forward is to look at it and actually address it rather than continuing to ignore it. Because when you ignore it, nothing happens, and you will continue to stay in a stressed state, and you will never get full control of your finances.
So when you look at your finances, and I know we've talked about this in previous episodes, but what is the frequency like? What am I, and kind of what should I expect as far as the frequency and how much I should return and report and look at my finances?
So when it comes to like your financials and your financial statements, you should be looking at those at least once a month, at minimum, at least once a month. So like your financial statements, of course, you want to look at after you've closed out the month. You want to go ahead and look at your financial statements to see what happened that month. And you can kind of get an idea of what was going on. And then also looking at your bank statements too. So, because you should be pulling those anyway, because you're reconciling your account. So actually kind of like glance at those, like take a quick look at them and just kind of see, especially big amounts, just kind of anything that pops out at you, and just kind of look at those and see if there's anything that you notice that looks weird. You find any duplicate charges, you find any fees that you probably shouldn't be charged. So just kind of just looking at things, at least on a monthly basis. But then when it comes to like your actual bank account and your cash, so the money you have on hand, I recommend looking at your bank account every single day. I'm like, it takes less than a minute. You have apps on your phone, log into your account and just look at it, just so you can see, are there any pending transactions? Did everything post like it's supposed to? Did somebody charge you that they shouldn't have? You can kind of catch those sooner, because if you never look at your bank account, who knows what's going on? And who knows who's charging you stuff or what's going in, what's coming out. Like you just have to look at it. And so it's okay to look at your bank account, even if you don't like what the balance is, because you can always fix the balance. You can do things to improve what your balance is, but you need to first look at it so that you can know what your first step is.
And most of the time, like, for the individual, like it's an easy thing. But once you add that second person and that third person, you're talking about running a business. It's so important that somebody, like, that's what they're dedicated to every single day, every week, every month, looking at those financials, right?
Exactly. That's where, somebody can come and help you look at your accounts. Even like, you should still be looking, even if you are working with someone, you should still be looking yourself. Like, don't just completely hand it off and just be like, oh, they're going to handle everything. I'm like, no, you still want to look, because you're going to hold them accountable just like they're holding you accountable, because you hired them to do something for you, but you still want to have a good grasp and understanding of what's going on in your financials.
So as I'm looking, like, what are the type of questions that I'm asking as I'm looking at the data, as I'm looking at my financial income, income statements, as I'm looking at my expense statements, as I'm looking at my bank statements and reconciling, like, what are the questions that I'm asking? You talked, excuse me, and you hit on duplicate charges. Are there any other things that, like, I should be looking for as I look at my finances?
One of the big things is subscriptions. That's always so that's something to always look out for. So if you signed up for a trial and they're like, get your 7-day trial, and then they're going to charge you on day 8, look for things like that. Like, maybe you didn't want to continue and you needed to cancel. So are there things that you're being charged for that you actually wanted to cancel? Or did the bank charge you for something that they probably shouldn't have? Like, are they charging you a fee and you're not supposed to be charged any fees, or it was an error? Those are the main things you want to look for: errors, look for duplicates, look for charges that you shouldn't be getting, things you need to cancel. And then, of course, look for the activity that you have a lot of. So if you have a lot of food charges, or, say you have a lot of food charges, look at that and say, okay, that's an area that you probably want to look at a little further, just because when you're looking at your P&L and you see your expenses, look which categories are the highest. And then you want to say, okay, are they the highest because I'm just doing a lot of spending? Or is this some type of investment I'm making and I'm going to earn it back? I'm going to get my return at some point. So really, really look at those really, really high expenses and see how they correspond to the revenue that you're bringing in or potentially want to bring in. Because, for instance, advertising. If you're paying someone or you're running ads and you're like, by me spending this $500 to run these ads, I'm hoping to bring in X amount of clients and X amount of revenue, you can actually track that by saying, okay, if I think in 3 months, I should be able to triple what I put in for these ads. That's what you should see on your financials. So you should see triple the income. And if you don't, then it's like, okay, maybe this ad spend isn't really what I need to be doing right now, because it's not giving me the return I need.
And there's something about when you can put a financial number on, like, something that you're executing on somebody, for somebody, whether it be in a product or a service, and then you can track that number over a period of time, and you track those expenses toward the revenues gained. And as, like, it's so important that you, like, I'm like a nitpicker, and so, like, I've learned so much as a business owner. I'm to the point where Misa's at, and that is, I'm going to look at my finances every single day. I'm going to analyze them. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to look for duplicates. I'm going to make sure that the subscriptions that I do have, I'm actually even using them. Like, what is my usage rate, right? How much am I using it in my daily basis to validate whether or not I should even be paying for that subscription? Yep. So, those are the questions that you should be asking on the front end and the back end. So awesome. Let's go ahead and transition into the next topic, which is learn. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about that methodology.
So a lot of people will say, oh, I'm just bad with money, or I don't know anything about money, or finances, it's just confusing. And I'm like, the only reason you feel that way is because you don't know enough. You just don't have the knowledge that you need to feel more confident in what money is, what it can do, and what it means for you. And so learning not only like the basics of finances and like what finances is, like how it applies to your life, how can you manage them, like all the basic financial information, but also kind of digging a little bit deeper and understanding kind of what your money story is. So it's like, why do you think you're bad with money? Is it because you grew up with parents who they didn't manage money well? So you learned from them that, money is a bad thing, or I just can't be good with it because that's what I saw my parents do, versus people who maybe they had someone teach them how to manage money at an early age. So they feel more confident. And that's really the only difference, is the amount of knowledge that you have. So you can always gain the knowledge. It's out there. So go get the knowledge and information that you need so that you can feel more confident when it comes to your finances and dealing with money.
I love what you just said right there. Money story. and when you said it, I was thinking Money Penny, like Money Penny with James Bond. And so, no, but you have to, like, you tell that story over and over again. I'm not good with finances. I'm not organized. And you tell that story and you set yourself up for failure, especially with your finances, where you have to be organized, where you have to categorize your expenses and revenue gain, all to track that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So definitely, like when you talk about learning what you don't know, you talked a little bit about seeking out advisors and experts. Like when you first started out, Misa, like trying to seek out an expert and an advisor yourself, like what are those type of questions? Like, because you have people that sell shovels and people that sell shovels, right? So as you go through that process, what are the type of questions like a business owner should be asking of somebody like a bookkeeper like yourself? What are those type of questions that do they need to be asking to learn and kind of seek out that expert person?
So one of the first things to ask is like what are the basics that I should know as a business? Like just very, very basics. If I don't know anything about, this is my first business and I'm brand new, what do I need to know? And it's like, because there's some small things that you can do that so many business owners don't do. For instance, not separating their personal and business expenses. So having everything in one account is one of the biggest no-nos in business. And a lot of business owners don't even know that. So it's something that seems so simple, but without asking the right questions, or if someone doesn't tell you that offhand, you have to know to ask, okay, what should I know at a very basic level? Because I'm like, if you can at least do that one thing, you're already saving yourself so much time and money, because at least everything is separate. If you didn't do anything else, you have your personal and your business completely separate, and someone can help from there.
And that's the awesome thing, that a business owner, like that's your advantage as a business owner, to provide value for your customers and clients. And Rob and I are actually going through this with a 5-day lead challenge with ClickFunnels. And we're working and consulting with Cornerstone Outdoors, and we're building localized funnels, basically geared towards Facebook groups. But basically what we're trying to do in that process is learn what the community needs, learn what the customers needs. And we're seeking out those experts, and we're trying to find ways to understand how we can provide those services effectively, right? And those in our local community, the community I live in. So awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into the next topic, which is ask. And this is you're going to be asking those trusted advisors and experts for what type of information. So I'm seeking out advice. Why would I come to you, Misa? Why am I going to come to you to seek out that expert financial advice? What can I do as a business that's going to move me forward?
So when you're not sure and you don't know, or you're scared and you're like, you fear the IRS, things like that, and you have all these questions as far as, I want to make sure I'm doing things right, but I'm not sure what to do. That's a pretty good indicator that it's probably time to ask for a little help. And when you go to a trusted advisor or an expert within the financial field, they can answer those questions for you, and they can walk you through, certain things that you need to do. They can provide training if you need it. So if you're like, I want to be able to handle my bookkeeping, but I have no idea what to do, someone can help you and walk you through it so that you're not just trying to figure it out on your own and, messing things up or making a mess. And then, of course, then you have to pay for it later. So it's like, if you take care of it early and ask the right questions sooner, you will save yourself the stress. You will save yourself time. You will save yourself money because you made sure that you got everything taken care of at the beginning, right up front. When you're like, I'm running a business, I need to make sure my finances are in order. And that's usually not one of the things that many people think about. It's like an afterthought, especially after they start making money. Then it's like, oh, I'm making money. Now I probably need to figure out what to do with my finances because I'm probably gonna have a big tax bill. But it's like, you want to think way before tax time. It's as soon as you start a business, like that first thing, your foundation it's your money. So what's going on within your finances, within your business, it makes all the difference. So you need to understand what's going on with it and what you need to be doing to make sure you're setting yourself up for success. And that's what asking an expert or a professional can help you do. Is you can ask questions to them, and then also they can just provide you with guidance and anything that they know of just offhand that you probably didn't even think to ask. So like, even back to the example of separating your accounts. Like no one would think to ask, do I need to separate my accounts? Nobody's probably going to ask that. Most people think, oh, it's fine. But then you can ask somebody, okay, what is something I should do? Separate your accounts. Make sure you have that dedicated account. Make sure that you're tracking everything some way. Of course, I like to use technology. So, using an accounting system versus pen and paper or a spreadsheet, but make sure that you're tracking it because some people don't even track it. So just very simple steps to take early on so that you can set yourself up for the long run.
And I like how you included, like, look at your finances, like that should sink in, right? I should be looking at what's going in, what's going out. But I like how you grouped learn and ask. And when I think of like experts and advisors, sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask. And so probably the first approach, especially in my case, as I started a business, I didn't have that advisor. I didn't have that mentor. I didn't even seek that mentor out. And I failed. And so that's what seeking out an expert and an advisor is going to do. Not only are they going to hold you accountable and challenge you, but they're going to be able to educate you on specific areas that you can focus on, specific skills that you need to pick up based off of what you're deficient at. A lot of times those coaches and consultants, they're going to run an assessment on you and just say, hey, how can I improve at my business? Like, look at my business from an outside perspective and give me your input so that I can be better, right? We all need to be coached. And I think the principles that you uncovered today of look, learn, and ask apply to every aspect, not just the finances, but the operations, the marketing, the sales. I need to look at what I'm doing. I need to learn the things that I need to learn to be successful and be educated in the field that I'm in. and I need to ask when I don't know, right? I need to see experts that are going to be able to guide me so that I'm not just wandering around with a bunch of landmines going off. So
exactly.
no, this was an awesome presentation. Rob, I wanted you to jump in. You were quiet the whole time. So if you have any questions, I'd love to get your input, Rob. It's always nice to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is, the look, learn, and ask. Instead of look, learn, and listen. It's a great way to look at it. I'm thinking it's true. It's so true. Is you have to be familiar with your finances, and Misa and I have talked about this in previous episodes as well. If you don't know what's going on, it's going to sneak up on you, and that's the whole thing. If you have an understanding of what your money is, what your accounts are, I even suggest even breaking down your accounts even further, not just one bank account for your business, but I had. Let's see here. I had my main bank account. Then I had a receivables bank account, a payables, and then I also had the credit card transaction type bank account, so that I could keep those things separate and then move money into the centralized account. This way, it kind of just makes it easier. You can move money around. People don't. If somebody double charges you, it's only going to hit one account, not just the main account. Like nothing should be taken out of your main account or going into your main account unless you put it in there, right? This way your account receivables only have the money that should be paid out. So you move it over there and let the person know you can take the money out now, or you can, cut your checks from there. It's just a great way to it's kind of like a layer of security, of financial security, that a lot of people don't have. And in Korea, you can open up a bank account with a zero balance, so it's very easy to set up your account. But with a lot of banks, just go in there with the idea that you should have like $50 or something like that. Whatever their minimum is, you should have that in your account to put in there. Once it's open, they don't care if it goes into the zeros. They just want to make sure there's something in there when you start it up. So that's a big one that I would suggest to everyone out there, is having those multiple bank accounts as a layer of insulation from fraudulent charges and stuff like that. Because if somebody hits you up and goes, "Oh, they double charge you," you're going to know real fast, because all of a sudden your bank account goes to a minus, and you're like, "What? What's going on here?" And then you contact that person right out, and then the bank goes, "Hey," they'll tell you, the bank yells at you, "Hey, someone's trying to take more money out than you have." They're pretty good about that. They don't want your money being stolen either. Then, of course, learn and understand. One of the biggest things here is having someone, and it kind of comes in with the ask as well, is having people who can explain it to you. And they're not going to BS you. I know Misa is one of those people we've had this conversation. It's like, she's going to tell you straight. She's not your friend or your buddy who's like, "Oh, well, they had a bad day, I'm not going to tell them about it." She's going to go, "Hey, look, something's going on here. You got to get this sorted out," right? Like, that's her job as a bookkeeper. That's her job. She's going to play neutral. She's not going to go between two different partners. She's going to just, "Guys, this is the situation. This was taken out on this date. It shouldn't have been taken out. I don't know why this is taken out. Why is this money missing?" She's going to be like the lifeguard of your bank account, right?
That's why I love your slogan as well, is just move the shame around your finances, because a lot of people, and I'm going to go back to what you said earlier, and that is your money story is critical. You have to break down those false beliefs of what you've been built up to believe on your finances, and you have to empower yourself to be able to ask the questions and bring in the experts that are going to guide you through that process. So that's the biggest thing for me. my accountant is like my bookkeeper. He's not my bookkeeper, but he's taught me over the years to be a good bookkeeper, because I have that individual that I can call on the phone and say, hey, something's going on here. I don't know the answer to it. Like, do you know? Or do you know somebody that does know that can guide me through that process? Like all the IRS stuff, definitely reaching out to an accountant there, like proactively, like not thinking about like after the fact when it happens to me, but like ask questions ahead of time, like that are going to learn and teach you, right? Take a course at a local college, go through an online course online, watch YouTube videos, right? That are going to educate you. Watch Misa's Instagram reels, and you're going to learn your tips and tricks and your checklists that are so important, because she's the expert, right? That's why we had her on. We're seeking out expert advice on our finances so that as we move forward as a business at We Give 110, we're setting things up for success. So
yes, exactly.
Anyways, I wanted to wrap it up there. We're at about 26 minutes, and I appreciate you coming on, Misa. These are awesome. I want to continue to do these, but also I want to shift, and I want to get more into your business. So I haven't told this to Rob, but I would like to spend time coming out behind the scenes and interviewing you in person. I would like to find that one place where you can talk about your family and your kids and open up to our audience so I can capture your story. I think that's so important. It's so important to me. And that's just what I want to do. So Got a Bunch. It's going to be on the Got a Bunch series. I'm actually interviewing Kevin Sorto and Rafael Morales here pretty soon. And I would love to do that for you as well. Just be able to informal, sit down, talk shop, talk about life, talk about, what motivates you as a businesswoman, what motivates you as a mom, what are you really seeking to do in this lifetime? Like, what change are you looking to make with your business? Because I love your slogan. It talks about empowering women, and I'm all about empowerment. So I want to capture that story. I hope you're interested. I've got some videographers and photographers that are going to help, and we might even sneak you out to a local event that we have, which is going to be on June the 18th and 19th. We actually have secured a location with a private jet, and we're going to be going live. We're going to be going live. I'd love to interview you on that one and just talk about what we have going on in the future. So I appreciate you coming on, Misa. Rob, I appreciate everything you do behind the scenes. Those that are tuning in, make sure that you go over to wegive110.com and make sure that you put in your email. This is where you can download our personal success journal. This is what I use on a literally daily basis. Rob, the man, the tank, has come up with this guide that I'm telling you. You spend 90 days, you look through a telescope. You put out your targets that you want to accomplish. Then you go in your journal and you break it down with your drives. It's so easy. It's so simple. It makes sense to me, and I promise you it's going to make sense to you. And if you're not tracking what you're doing, you're not reviewing what you're tracking, you're not getting better, right? You're not asking those questions that you need to ask. You're not seeking out those experts that you need to seek out. That's going to happen in your journal because you write it down, because you have a question. You go, how am I going to solve this problem? Sometimes I've got to seek out an expert, and that journal is going to lead you to that person. So with that said, I appreciate you guys. Y'all keep giving that 110, and we'll see you next week.